Heard the fans start making noise, except you're not here. And why would you be? Hello all and sundry. I have things to do in order to start my stream, but I'm Keith, and this is Thoughtstorms. I may have worn the ecology shirt last time, I don't know. I don't pay attention to what I do. Let me get my capability of seeing chat going. Oh God. Devices that time out, because why would you want them to stay on just because you turned them on and you want to see them? Technology is moving backwards. I know. SpaceX caught that bloody rocket with the chopsticks. That's greatness. For every one of those, there's 500 blue screens of death. Okay. But I'm not officially sick of it. Well, let's try this. Oh. Hi, talk amongst yourself. If you exist. I sound like Kiff from Futurama. I have some news tonight as well. Oh, please let me see this. Why won't you let me see this? Oh, God. I don't think that the right people die. Oh, okay. Alright, that's my bad. I was on... What do you call? Administrator mode, I guess. I'm a little washed out. I'm trying another light source over there, which is rechargeable. It doesn't work when it's being recharged, so it may power out. Oh, how many times I gotta tap the thoughtstorms thing? Oh, apparently it's 400? No, it's just not gonna happen, right? Just not sodomizing going to happen, are you? You're just not even interested in happening. Swear to God, I searched for my own channel's name. It's right there. Still can't get to it. Let's try something different. It won't show up there because I'm not subscribed to myself or even following myself. So that's I have a bit of a, I don't know, voice affecting cold. Hey, during part of my lifetime, it let me go to my own bloody stream. I, for one, cannot stand it. Well, I've learned a bunch about officially bullshit OBS. It's a free software and it's not worth every penny. Really not. Beck, they owe me about, I'd say about 3 years of my life that they shortened with my hair pulling. And they owe me a full head of hair. A set of teeth. And several butcher's aprons. Okay. Well, I'm Keith. This is Thoughtstorms. Like I said, we'll try to chat some gibberish. See if it turns up. It does. I don't know if anybody. I don't know if anybody's watched a recent VOD. No one has come in and chatted in quite some time. I don't remember how long. I think I'm going to raise my mic just a little because my voice is. Oh, it's too much. My voice is kind of jackhammered. Well, I don't want it hitting the red. Hey Google, PC off. God's sake. Maybe that'll help. Hi, this is Thoughtstorms. What have I got up here? Comfortable promoting your social stuff. Yep, do that. Please do. Staying so thirsty. And apparently you can only have one camera on screen. No. You're limited to 2 cameras. Because this one here has my face and this one over here has the bottom of my water bottle. Well, isn't that spliffniferous? I'll make that larger. I was gonna have 2 different camera views of what I was working on, but no. I mean, you can have 2 cameras, but one of them's gonna be frozen at best, probably not even working at all, not even showing up. This is a reminder to talk about this subject. Dang it. Here, let me try. Oh, that's the same one. You can't be serious. Why would you be serious about that? Alright, that's our demo one. How about hand cams? What camera is this? What camera is this? Who laid to? I'm not going to sing tonight much. Let's see if I can change which. Okay, what camera is this? Oh, it's that guy. Well, I didn't think he was working. It might actually be kind of decent. One of these days I hope to learn how to, do this. So, this guy is the bottom off of a Manjaro injector, because somehow I managed to have insurance now as a disabled, not quite senior, and I can afford Manjaro. In fact, I went to the doctor yesterday and they're going to increase my dosage because my weight's back up and my A1C's back up because my appetite's way back up. Water. Clear water. Water. It's hard for me to remember what camera is what. And I'm just now messing that up. Okay. So, last night, or perhaps the night before, I took apart 3 different kinds of injectors. Medical injectors, and here's the bucket thereof. This and this would fit into this guy. Oh, I think these are incredibly cool shapes and would make really good scratch bashing. I can never figure out how to glue plastic to plastic without sanding and hopefully without torching. My regular Lantus injections have a lid like this. And their mechanism isn't that cool on the outside, doesn't have the cool triangular bottom, but it has built into it this turny thing. There's a clear, I don't know if you can see the clear plastic thing that's making it go, but anyway, so you set your amount and then you push the thing and it injects and frequently hurts like a bastard. The top trigger of one of the Monjaros, the green ones are the top of Trulicity. That's what I had before. It's got the little belly button in the middle. And then my old school syringes for just doing regular old I always have trouble with this word, insulin. So I have lots and lots of cool greeblies. They get called greeblies. And on some occasions it was not worth the effort to claw the thing out. But I think these things are lovely jubbly. Oh, yeah, you can see that. They're threaded. And I've got dozens and dozens. And they're basically free to me, and I don't really love the idea of sending them to the landfill, so one of these days I hope to scratch bash. I think there's got a lot of springs. Might come useful at some point. Basically, any of these things, I've got lots of them. And some, there's some I haven't even dismantled yet. So that's something that happened, I guess, the night before last, or I mean, yeah, I think Monday night. Oh, which makes me think of the news. Here is the news. Coming to you from satellite 222. Here is the news. I want my baby back. Want my baby back. So, I'm going to change my nights around. I still don't want 2 in a row, although I think I will go live tomorrow. That's beside the point. So this is my last scheduled Tuesday night. Hasn't been that successful at catching anybody interested. So instead of being Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Texas time. I was foolishly streaming through at least the beginning of the one stream I set an alarm to watch on a regular basis. But the way I project my cancels the alarm. So I've been missing the Maki Horror Picture Show. The Maki Horror Picture Show needs the at the beginning of. I think you can search without it. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Texas time. Not absolutely every Thursday, but most. Saw them live. I don't think I've talked about that on stream yet. I might have on Saturday. Or Saturday maybe have been when I was so incredibly frustrated that I don't know. I can't keep up. OBS will let you undo most things, but one catastrophic thing? No undo on that one. Took me a long time, but I finally got back on stream, but I was in such a bad mood and other technical issues. No new digital art right there yet. I've got new stuff. It's just not loaded onto this computer yet. Monday, Wednesday, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Or you could call it 19 o'clock Central Standard Time, Chicago Standard Time, also CST. Or as I like to call it, daylight mangling. And I realize that saying daylight may confuse somebody. It's Central Standard Time, Texas time. Just ask your Google what time it is in Texas. Yeah, you're going to jump through that hoop. Oh, I have a slightly less difficult URL to get to the YouTube stream. It's just youtube.com/c/Keith Hale. All one word. I don't think capitalization matters really on any of it. I don't think it does. I haven't tested that. You know what? Let's test that. Let's just be bad boy rebels and make sure. T for tune. Alright. You're not seeing what I'm doing. That's fine. I might out myself. Oh. /C/KEITHHALE. I know it's supposed to be I before E except after C, except that's bullshit. Einstein and I both agree. It's wrong in his name twice. And mine once. I used to, in high school, I used to claim there was in fact, one time I even came to school as my evil twin, Keith. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce Kieth, but anyway. That was before I got to experience the joys of people wanting to call me Stuart. My friends call me Keith. My enemies call me Stuart. I think I'm looking toward the camera, but not at it. That's kind of weird, probably. Dang it. The way... mess up the stream? I don't think so. Messed me up a little bit. Copy. Paste. Enter. Well. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's try it with lowercase c. Something like that shouldn't matter. Oh, it works with lowercase c. Okay, so youtube.com/c/Keith Hale. And Keith Hale doesn't matter, upper or lowercase. But the lowercase c. With a capital C, you go to some guy's website, his channel. And I don't know if that was on accident or not. I'm at the top of everybody's, well, yeah, basically all my friends on Facebook. I'm their top friend because of the dash before my name and the dash, well, just because of the one before my name. But I've been doing that since the 1970s. Yeah. Late 70s I did it that way. Before that I did it the way my father, I signed my signature the way my dad signed his, and he said, I'm kind of honored, but can you find your own? Because it's supposed to be uniquely mine. Oh, kids. I want to get something out of the kitchen. I'll be right back. Ooh, let me get a soda beverage as well. Hold this thought, please. I don't have anything. Yes, I do. If I can just think. I know this is trippy. Here it is. Turn the volume up. Hopefully it's not too loud.
The Coniverse by Keith Hale. This is a depiction of the infinite creative capacity of my mind.
Right. Or it just means that Keith Hale smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah, I think it's probably a weed thing. It's faces within faces within faces. Kind of an Escher
In a spiral. I like that. I like that it's not just...
Oh, I just noticed that. That's actually very cool. That's so trippy.
Yeah.
And yet no eyes because I cannot see.
Right, exactly. The bottom right looks like a nipple.
Now, you know what? I thought that was a nipple.
Yeah.
Is that a nipple? No.
It's your face nipple.
But it's a nipple in the shape of the pentagon.
Maybe that's Keith Hale's brand of weed. You know, pentagon.
Yes. Yeah. The Coniverse by Keith Hale.
So I can't tell what you guys
This
are
is a
hearing.
depiction of the infinite creative capacity of my mind.
Right. Or it just means that Keith Hale smokes a lot of
Andy
weed.
and
Yeah, I think
Conan
it's
are
probably a
talking
weed
about
thing.
me.
It's
And how I'm such a
faces
dope
within
fiend.
faces within faces. Kind of an Escher
In a
thing.
It's
spiral.
pretty hilarious
I like
because
that.
I'm
I like that it's not just...
61
Oh, I just
years
noticed that. That's
straight
actually
and
very
sober.
cool. That's so trippy.
Yeah.
And yet no eyes
week?
because I
Week
cannot
after
see.
Right, exactly. The bottom right looks like a
The
nipple.
10th.
Now, you know what? I thought that was a nipple.
Yeah.
Is that a nipple?
No.
No.
It's your face nipple.
But it's a nipple in the shape of the pentagon.
Maybe that's Keith Hale's...
It must have gone through once. That's the first time I've tried playing a video on my stream, and it seems to work, but not really well. It repeats, which is sort of cool with that spiral, but it probably jumps at some point. Oh heavens. Oh earth. And oh other celestial entities. Oh. Haha. Well, I think you're hearing me. I didn't change to a scene with my face. There's my face. Aussie man. Hello, this is my face. Something like that. That was kind of funny. I liked it. Okay. Yes. I will get better at this. But sadly, I've been actually streaming for man, it's probably 3 months by now. Oh, talking about how long I've been streaming and changed schedule. There will be some disruption on the schedule because I got to move house. And that's November 15th. Spam Jelly's birthday. All the men in our family, with our immediate family, with very rare exceptions, are born in November. None of the women. Anyway, 15th, I've got to move house, and so that's going to be horrible. I don't know what day of the week that is, but I will be exhausted. And probably, yeah. I really wouldn't think I'd be able to IRL. I watched an IRL streamer who was cycling around London. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Because you're not only getting to see stuff, since it's live, you can say, hey, can you turn back and let me see that bulletin board or billboard or whatever. How did I bring that up? Oh. Because apparently that's something you can do with kind of a backpack computer, and I don't have money for yet another computer. And this laptop is no longer a laptop. I've never owned a laptop you could use without it being plugged in. It's not true. Yeah, it is true, because the first one I used wasn't mine. So, I'll be moving house week after next, I guess. I'll be moving into a smaller place. It's going to be hard to set up my computers. There's challenges ahead, but I'm going to try to keep an acceptable demeanor throughout. There's another big thing happening next week. Please go and vote. If you're eligible to vote in the United States of America, I urge you to go and vote intelligently. There are problems with both candidates because we don't have ranked choice voting. So our two-party system is giving us two imperfect candidates. Please vote and vote intelligently, and don't vote for the one that is that I despise this person in the 1980s. Okay? I'm not some bandwagon. And I don't like to say despise, and I don't like to get political. I don't think anybody's I don't think everybody's here or watching the VOD anyway, but I gotta. I guess I gotta keep practicing at this, and maybe I'll get halfway decent. Maybe somebody will tune in and say, "Oh, he knows a little bit about what he's doing." Anyway, my point is, don't let the non-existent perfect be the enemy of the good. One of the candidates is not just good, she's great. She's outstanding. And rather fetching, if I may say. Pretty close to my age, too. And she likes like that. Sorry. That was... all of that was unworthy of broadcast or any other kind of... That artwork looks a little bit like popcorn, which tickles me because one of the things I make is popcorn kernels of unusual size. So yes. Please do go out and vote. Whichever way this election turns, it's not going to be pretty. I am quasi on record on one not that well-known podcast, I guess, as having suggested that things may occur that make January 6th, 2021 look like a sleepover at a laser tag facility. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff happening. I've told you my planned schedule for going live. What else? Probably not great for my lagging voice to approach operaticity. I wonder if that is a word or if it will ever become one. Alright, I can go to another screen here. Maybe. Look, popcorns. They're so big. Ah, look at my face camera now. Wow. It's behind my head and it's still huge. Some of them are not nearly so big. Dang it. You can see better now. This I made a long time ago because pentagons and non-flat art has been a big thing for me to poop on. This is one of the negative space marbles. I marbled water permeable, water soluble porcelain with 2-part epoxy sculpt, and then I dissolved out the stuff, and it's not easy. Oh shoot, that's what I originally went into the kitchen to get, was one of those that I was going to wash the water soluble clay. There's some of the smaller ones. And if you ever join Patreon or donate or something, you might just find you can have one of these mailed to you. Plan to make more and make some more that are better. Yeah, that's the thing in there. No change on this project here. It's gonna mess my lighting up, I bet. It didn't. Okay, so this is just a common everyday copper mixing bowl. Would be the right word for it. And so I would place keycaps from old Apple and Macintosh computer keyboards. I don't think this is helping me, so I'm going to change it. And it's going to be unpleasant for a second, I beg your pardon. That's better. Okay, this is fairly solid. If I were to drop it, it would probably break in several places. You can see that I kind of just tried to use wads of that epoxy sculpt like fingers to kind of pinch together from the inside, the back side, the concave side of the keys, and then let them set inside the copper gadget. Forgive me, please. And that is too much white. Too much white. I couldn't see there was too much white. It's a little better. Yeah, dang it. Oh, well. Yeah, I got a real catch in my shoulder when I reach like that. God bless America's. I mean, atheismo, defend me. I still love this thing, and I've got like another continent's worth of it for this missing area. Dry land is not a myth. So I'll be coming back to that. I'm testing ways that I can kit bash plastic without sanding, which is, nobody likes it. If you're watching a YouTuber that is always sanding one of their projects, they don't like it. I don't know. There might be somebody. But if there is, they're a freak. Not that there's anything wrong with being a freak. We don't freak shame here at thoughtstorms. At the Paradox Thought page. There's a callback from way back. My beard is a little worse than usual. The water has been off at my apartment all day. Oh, the hot water. Which is fun. What else can I tell and show and think and do? I want to check something. I'm going to go to the other art demo page. Looks like has it come back? So see, I can have this easily hand movable one that has a pretty darn good macro capability. What I was showing you before probably look a little better. Heavens. Close up on that camera. So I'll try to remember that. Trying to figure out ways to kit bash, and by kit bash I mean assemble together in a lasting, archival way. All artwork degrades over time, and sunlight tears up. I guess it doesn't tear up everything. It doesn't tear up gold. I know that much. I don't know where I put some things because we have been. My mother's been helping me so much, so much, especially when my back was killing me worse than it is now, to organize better and pack. As it happens, I'm literally moving across the street. There won't be any point in putting it in an actual vehicle. Wheeled dolly that can go right to my door and right to my other door will be used. Basically undoing the previous move, although I have more warning time this time. The building I'm moving into, as it happens, the mirror image apartment, little smallest apartment they have, cheapest. I woke up to go to the bathroom at 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning to ankle deep hot water. The current management of where I live is great. I gotta say great things about them. I'm not gonna dox myself and say what the community is called, but the people before them were almost all Bond villains going back quite a ways. I lived here 3-4 years with somebody that was with management that was okay, and I don't know, I think 7 years before they ever started charging us for parking and towing not just our vehicles if anything was wrong, but anyone who came to visit who didn't jump through all the right hoops, and charging them $300. They got me fired from the job I had before in the Beforantine. I managed to get the job back, but they got me fired by towing the work van because at that time I was working 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. with very short breaks for naps, and I got a chance for a nap, and my evil, law-breaking boss, who later flaked. Lord, I'm telling the longest stories in all of them, and none of them need to happen. Hi, I have attention deficit disorder. Not terribly hyperactive, so it didn't get diagnosed until after they had already figured out the clinical depression. Also on the autism spectrum. I'm dyscalculia. But you wouldn't know it. Squirrel! So yeah. I've been threatening to read some poetry. Like a proper Vogon, and I don't have poetry at hand, but I do have a dated, a quite dated, oh man, this is before I lost my corporate job. This is before 9/11. This version. I don't know if I tweaked it after that or not. And I don't really have a title. I have terrible titles. They're all on the nose, give it away, spoiler titles. So I tried to think of some that weren't, and boy, they were worse. I'm usually pretty good with names of things. I consider this to be truth, but yeah, this one has not proved that to be that way. I will refer to it, I hope, as the vampire play. And basically, I've finished the first act, and I think it's a 2-act show, and I think the 1 act can stand alone as a 1 act. Sadly, one of the gimmicks that inspired the piece, I didn't get to it first, but I thought of it about 20 years or maybe 30 years before I ever heard of anybody else doing it. I was going to do a black and white play. Everybody be in black and white makeup, clothing, sets, you name it, lighting. And I thought, why? Cool gimmick. And I mean, a period piece, okay, fine, but still, you know, use the gimmick for something meaningful. And what might actually be useful in black and white, and that would be a story where some color shows up here and there. So something a little supernatural, a little preternatural at least. And I don't know how much longer it was later, I thought, if I had a vampire show up and his eyes were all, you know, his eyelids are all red from being around too much sunlight, and, you know, maybe some blood on his shirt or whatever would be red. That would be a meaningful use of the gimmick. And then it occurred to me that I could pulse the lighting, fast pulse, not like a strobe. Not, I would expect not to cause anybody stroke, seizures, but just like a movie projector. And then I thought, oh, that'd be cool if my vampire not only has spots, just little subtle spots of color. And I mean, when I say red, I mean dark red, where it's like, how sure am I that that's not just gray or black? Oh, I sniffed and I looked at my audio meter and saw the red. I hope I'm not caving anyone's head in. I've turned off the fan and I'm schwitzing, but it's worth it. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. But I thought another thing that I could do to set him aside from all the other, the normals, would be to have a non-pulsed light, like a follow spot, on him only. So everybody else has got that slight jitter to their motion, but not him. It's like he's in HD and everybody else is in. So, this is a very old version, and I think it might be kind of fun to explore it. I named the person with the, oh wow, I was E.E. Cummings, my name. Let's see, can I show you? I can show you, I can show you. For a time there, I wasn't even capitalizing my name. There's a dash in front and a dash after. But I wasn't capitalizing. I went through a little bit of an E.E. Cummings phase on my signature. Another way to stand out just on text. So there are only two characters in the first act. Yes. Jason Hargreaves, expatriate Brit, intelligent and compassionate former merchant sailor, paler than death from many forms of starvation. He has just enough charm to cover the absolute tragedy of his life. Brother Leonard Wills, Franciscan monk in this small New England town, beloved of the entire parish, overweight, amiable, forgiving by nature as well as calling. At the time of this scene, he has been fatally wounded, but there is nothing to be done about that. Instead, he seizes upon Hargreaves' troubles in part to distract from his own. Brother Leonard's primary wounds are from a knife. The cause of the knife wounds is outside the scope of this one-act scene excerpt. There is the sound of troubled breathing. Slowly, the light from a hurricane lamp fades up. The still dark room is almost totally bare. There are two wooden chairs, a cot, and a small table. What? How did I... Is someone there? Hargreaves brightens the hurricane lamp a bit more. Don't be afraid. You were unconscious when I came in. I tended to your head wound. I fear it is more serious than I know how to help. Rest there. You'll be fine for now. My name is Jason Hargreaves. I'm here for shelter from this killing blizzard. Oh, that's right. I fell. Thank you, Jason, and welcome. You may have saved my life. He tries to stand. Jason eases him back down. Merciful God. I'm Brother Leonard Wills. This is my orders retreat cabin. I am pleased to know you. Your fall explains the wound to your head, but I see your side and back have older wounds. Slightly older wounds, need to add that. Yes, the fall explains my head, and the older wounds explain the fall. I cannot explain the older wounds, I'm afraid. They make me very unsteady when I try to walk, but with the blizzard getting so bad here, I had to try to get the young seedlings in. I have a note to myself here. Hargreaves got the seedlings in. They may be visible on stage somewhere. Back to Wills here. Your ministrations have helped me, though, and I'm so grateful to you. How have you made it here through this maelstrom? More of a blizzard, surely. Yes, you're right. I always go wrong when I attempt hyperbole. My exaggerations are atrocious. Not at all. I shouldn't correct. I wish I didn't have to impose, but I've never seen a winter storm to match this. I walked for a few days to get here, I'm afraid. Will you be all right? Despite this cold, you are sweating. I am exactly as fit as this fat man can be. I won't have another word wasted on my condition. I am more concerned for you. You look starving. Emaciated? What is the proper hyperbole? Starving covers it. It is just the way I look, I'm afraid. I will be quite all right. Perhaps I can help you with what you were doing. I brought in the seedlings you mentioned. So very kind. Well, then all I was doing was shivering and feeling sorry for myself, and I've done more than enough of that. Would you care for a little communion wine? There is no food here at all, I'm afraid. No, thank you. There was some bread and a few pounds of chocolate, but I'm afraid I've used this blizzard as an excuse to indulge. Not to worry, I'm in no need of any of that. Well, that's a blessing anyway. I insist you talk with me and keep me company. Where are you from? Ipswich, originally. Not far from London. I've traveled a great deal since I've been there. What brings you to New England? Fortune and the blizzard has quite thoroughly taken over my itinerary. I'm sorry to ask, but are you on the run? Chased by the police? You have a desperation to your look. I am in almost constant flight, but not from the law, and anything so concrete as that. I travel and I observe, like a photographer without a camera. I love photography. What have you observed lately? Many things. And few things fit for your politest of company. Nonsense! We are men alone, and my boredom could use the break. You tempt me. There is a story that I do yearn to tell someone, my story, before I die. But to do so would be an absolute cruelty, an abomination I am not monster enough to allow. You misread me. My jovial roundness made you think I was asking you. It was more of a command. I hope I'm not sounding British on either one. I'm sounding British on Wills and not on Hardcruise. That's hilarious. It was more of a command. I just don't have a threatening enough demeanor. They laugh. A more active Catholic would fear excommunication, but you could turn me out into the killing elements, and that is worse. I want to tell. I just cannot. For your sake, mostly. I'm beyond harm now. Beyond harm. I have to say I like that phrase, beyond harm. We have that in common. I am as harmed as anyone can be. So, I repeat my command. I have the number of the Vatican, don't make me use it. And you say your demeanor is insufficiently threatening. If I told you what I long to tell someone, you'd think me mad, a dangerous lunatic. And you would be right. That's art. Spill your story. So, you want my story? Well, let us call it a fiction. A ghost story to commend the time until the weather breaks. A ghost's story because I am the ghost. I like it already. I was born in 1763. Probably will change that. No, I won't. Maybe not. I don't know. This is an old version. I don't need to comment. I was born in 1763. My father was a merchant, and I learned to be a merchant sailor. So you are 158 years old? As the calendar would tell it, yes. I was married in my 28th year. My bride was a buxom fishmonger of Welsh descent, Anna Sophia Verch Price ap Gwyn. Welsh names. Took me years to master them. I haven't mastered it. I did research to have it in print here, but I don't know how to say it. Anyway. But sadly, she died 4 years after we were wed. In childbirth, with our second. Our first, Vaughn, died just 10 months after he was born. I see you are not the only ghost in this tale. More haunted than haunter, you are quite right. I could never remarry, and I took to exploring the globe with greater and greater gusto. I was away when my father passed, and never knew until much later when it was. I regret that. I can see that. Then we come to the part you will not believe, even in a fictitious story. Try me. It took place at sea, a proper maelstrom, seas higher than I'd ever seen. The men were terrified even before the storm turned so strong, as they fought to keep the AMUSION from being dashed upon the coast of what is now Oregon. I'm going to check that. Probably already have. I was attacked by some kind of demented creature that somehow came aboard. He clung to my back and clawed and bit me. He was stronger than any animal, stronger than the gorillas I'd seen in Rwanda. He spoke in several broken languages. He was a man. In a sense, yes. His language included a few words of English, but even they were so frantically fast I could only make out sanctuary, freedom, and death. He was so strong and crazed. All I could think to do was to get us both overboard. Even if he killed me in the water, at least my crew would be spared. I truly thought I was moments away from death. Once in the water, I'm not really trying to do the accents properly. Once in the water, yuck. I'm from Ipswich. Pardon that delay. Once in the water, his struggling decreased, and finally he fell away into the depths. I was washed ashore some time after the AMUSION suffered the same fate. Most of my crew died in the ocean. A few were dead on the sand. I should have been dead. My pain was greater than I had ever imagined pain could be, and there was a madness in me, but I was invigorated. My heart was more than double speed, and I had strength almost like that of my attacker. The sunlight, when at last it returned, was so exquisite and crimson, and I knew it would destroy me and consume me and sustain me. As I said, I was quite mad. Yes, I see. Shall I stop? Don't you dare. You're breathing badly, and I can see you are wounded. You must let me carry you to hospital. Jason, my new friend, the hospital is more than 100 miles away. You could never do it. Not with a giant strength or all your ghost powers. Powers? I guess I'm going to try to just kill the accent. There is nothing to be done. Tell your story. With you dying in front of me, call it a deathbed wish. Nope. I read that. I didn't read that. Call it a deathbed demand. This is where my tale becomes more of a confession. If only someone of the clergy were here. The last 2 surviving crewmen attacked me on the beach. One had a sword and one a torch. They called me Diavolo. They clearly meant to kill me. At first I was slow and confused. They struck many ferocious blows before my sluggishness was replaced by a haste, a godlike speed. I dodged their thrusts, parried and tumbled, and confounded them at every turn. It was as if they were swimming in thickened air. As I defended myself, Vasquez, he seemed to throw himself onto my arm. My hand was flat, and he impaled himself on it like on a broadsword. I had no time to react or mourn or marvel at this. Almost of its own volition, my other arm flicked out behind me, the nails of my right hand slicing open Connell's throat. Again, like a sword. God have mercy. Not on that day. The last of my crew were dead at my feet. Dead by my own hands. It was as if my hands were self-aware. I meant them no harm. Connell was an old friend. But there they were, and I could not bring myself to look away from their thick blood as it ran onto the wet sand. I was consumed with an urgency. That blood would be my only sustenance, and only if I hurried. I thought it was from thirst. I told myself that, and they were dead. My guilt would not revive them. I was thinking of my own damned survival, so I drank the blood from my bosun. Madness. My tale? You were insane from the attack, the storm. I wish I could give myself that comfort, but I cannot. I did what I did. It was me. Not my hands, but me. Had you ever been that violent before, even one time? No. And I know what you are saying, but there's more. Good. Tell me all of it. I was changing. The exquisite sun began to fascinate me. I stared into it. I let it blind my eyes, and still I stared at it. I could feel the heat inside my eyes, but I had to have it. I had to have it. I wanted it to burn me, to destroy me here beside the men I had killed. The next several days were more of a surrealist painting than anything language could hope to convey. I changed in ways there are no words for. I became something so far from human that I knew I could never have been a human to begin with. For a while I marveled that the bride and creatures of the land around me seemed to come straight to me, like they were drawn to me. Then I saw that had been a fallacy of perception. They were doing all in their power to elude me. But I had such unworldly speed and cunning that they might as well have given themselves up to me like willing sacrifices. Did you cook them at least? I didn't eat them. I drank them. As my consciousness became more coherent, I learned that only fresh blood could sustain me, and the world around me became dark, literally, like an eclipse, but forever. It never became pitch night, for I had and have a sense of vision that makes absolute darkness seem like early twilight. Not early twilight, bright twilight. But bright day was banished from where I stalked and roamed. Much later I realized I was taking shelter during the day, so instinctively from that time I forgot to notice day's absence. Now I long for the sun, as sweet in my memory almost as Sophia's face. But in that time it seemed almost natural that there was no day. Your story is starting to sound like a novel I read years ago. Stoker. I read it long before it became so relevant to me. Relevant, though inaccurate. I'm not sure if Dracula was written in time for that. I don't know. So we got the details of vampirism wrong? Many. Crosses, holy water prayers. None of them hurt me. I never had the occasion to try them on another of my kind. Sunlight is survivable, but even longing for it, I've only managed to be in even indirect sunlight a handful of times. It doesn't destroy me outright, much as I've wanted it to over the years. Why would you want destruction? Guilt? The death of your crewmen? Not really. I finally was able to put that behind me. It is among the memories that I despise and something I still regret, but it has also kept me focused and sane. Well, sane enough that I've never killed a human since. Never. That's very kind of you. I accept your sarcasm, but it isn't kindness. I respect mortal humans far too much to shorten the brilliant candle of their brief lifetimes. One of the more interesting bits of vampire lore has it that we must be invited before we can come into a mortal's residence. Is that true? Not in a literal sense, but for me at least, the burden and the glory of mortality enthralls me in exactly the same way the sun repels me. A self-cognizant being's ability to die has such a sacred quality that I can only respect and defend it. Even if I were a drinker of human blood, I would probably still honor that legendary apocryphal convention. The ability to die, you said. You seek death by the sun's destruction just because you can't have it? You aren't far wrong. Humans are not made to live forever. They are not even designed to live more than a century, though some do. Death is a kindness, a birthright, not a curse. And you can say this to a dying man. I admire that. So, you are a wandering creature of night feeding on animal blood or a very convincing fraud. Fraud. That's the American. Your heartbeat, troubled as it is by your injuries, shows me that you are beginning to believe my tale. God works in ways even as mysterious as this. His ways... Hargreaves hands him a cup of wine. A cup of wine that he had no time to make ready. Thank you, son. His ways could include even what you say, but your desire to die, this troubles me. I've known you a very short time, and I don't want you to die. Well, ordinarily, what an irony-infused word on my lips, ordinarily you would have no reason to fear my death. But as bad as your health is getting, I may actually see my own end before yours comes. I don't think that's right. I think there's something way wrong with that. How do you know I am so close to death's doorway? Is the Grim Reaper a neighbor of yours? A colleague? I've yet to tell you my senses are supernatural. Nonsense. Nature is God's domain. Nothing is above that. I am impressed. Few of the Christian faith would make that distinction or allow it. Call my senses preternatural then. That which is natural, but presently beyond our understanding. So, other than decanting this cup of wine for me faster than my eye could follow, just what makes you so different? You are uncommonly observant as well. I cannot bear to see such a man waste away like this. How far is the hospital? Too far. And the roads are impossible. Can you fly? Only in a plane, which I don't have anymore. Was that what I heard? You couldn't have survived that. I mean, I prayed for... I was alone in the craft, and I crash-landed in the middle of nowhere on Earth, so perhaps your prayers weren't wasted. Without your prayers, who knows? I might have hit a building with people inside. Not even your clothes looked singed. I jumped out. So God provided you with a parachute too, or did you turn into a bat? No parachute, no bat. Merely an accommodating tree that may not last out the winter, as thanks for slowing my personal descent. He sticks fingers through many large holes in his jacket. I have to know more about your powers. You can fall from a plane and live? What else? Not live. This walking around that I do is not living. I can move with uncommon haste, as you noticed with the wine. I can sense your fingerprints in the repaired plaster of the upstairs storage closet, behind the wardrobe of choir robes. I can taste the rare Czechoslovakian vineyard in the bottle of wine in your safe. And I can sense the chemicals your body is releasing to ease your final minutes of life. Is there nothing I can do? Yes, you can calm yourself. This storm. There can't have been anything much to hunt. How long since you've had any blood then? Weeks. How many weeks? I'm not sure anymore. More than 7, I should think. That's got to change. But you said humans are not made to live forever. If your ghost's story is true, you aren't human anymore, surely. So what difference is that to you? You have the chance to experience all of the world, the miraculous and the horrible. You have time to get to know God's infinite creation. Why cut that short? This blizzard is a perfect justice and a metaphor for my non-life. I have no reason to continue. My family and my friends are long dead. That is the easier answer, but really the crux of the matter is deeper. I give nothing to the world and take so much. In order to hide my vampiric nature, I have to let that silence me. Thousands of poems or sculptures, choral compositions. The inspiration is there, and so is the talent, but I lock all of it away, and I cannot release it. I see. Suspicions would be aroused if one artist produced for more than a century or so. It is ultimately self-censorship, irrational, but absolute. I've known a few artists in my days. Some of them told that same sad tale. I think they have other problems that silence them. I'm going to ask you for a favor soon. A blessing I need from you, but not yet. Go on with what you're saying. I daren't even speak, not to mortals, surely. anything I say can bring tragedy, not only to me. There is only one other person, one other mind with which I can confer. Really, I must know all about this. Only if you will lie back and rest. I have a mental connection, let us call it, with another of my kind, another blood taker. A woman I have never met, River Stone. Beautiful name. She won a competition amongst all the braves of her tribe, of the entire blank nation, all for the honor of receiving the same curse I'd so love to lose. It is her belief that the same vampire that made me this was the one her group found. They conditionally spared him from a fire trap they had made for him. They trapped him and made a great tournament of braves. They would only release him if he would take the winning brave, would make the winning brave like him, a blood taker. Fascinating, so bold. They were facing their collective destructions at the hands of the European settlers. She believes it is our common maker that gives us our means to commune. Again, you turn a potent phrase. Our maker, yours, mine, the seedlings, is God. He gives us all to each other for comfort, the body of his holy church. Then she and I are a church of two. I'm hurt you didn't include me in that. I'm hurt you didn't include me and make it a trinity. So, how do you communicate with River when you've never met? I don't understand your mental connection. Another detail you will not believe. We write letters back and forth. Not letters. I am shocked. Brother Leonard, your time is short, and I have more to say before you ask your favor. Her letters, each on genuine parchment, just arrive in my hand, and my paper dissolves away to her when I'm done thinking, writing. It blurs together. It defies description almost. No pen needed, and the missives are instantaneous. What do you mean? Unlike the post office, I send a question, and in less than 2 seconds, as you experience them, her reply is in my hand. She rarely gives me a straight answer to my questions, but the letter is there, like a thought. Could I see one of her letters? You could if she were talking to me. Since the crash, I cannot seem to reach her. One of yours then. Oh, one of your letters then. Sorry, again, only if she and I were in contact, mental contact. It's hard to put in words. We are somehow linked. Just not right now. These letters are physical, at least I think they are, but reading it is like seeing and hearing her in my mind. We are just linked. This connection isn't mental at all. It's spiritual, I believe. And how uncanny that it takes the form of written script. How like scripture this is. I wonder if I've just said a blasphemy. No. You're both creatures of God, perhaps God's image. And maybe even miracles that spring from him. Maybe your kind are made in that miraculous part of his image. Brother Leonard, I am troubled and dumbstruck that a man of your calling would even entertain such a thought. but you've not seen the destruction. If your God is part locust, then perhaps you are right, but I cannot see that being so. When we get to my favor, then I will tell you about the divine locust. I like some of this. This guy can almost write. But first, I need more of your story. I discover on my final day the creation is even larger than I suspected. I have to know all I can. I said I dare not speak to mortals, yet I find I can speak to you. And doing so is such a release, I can't describe it. Perhaps that is part of what drives other vampires to kill humans. The only safe time to unburden themselves to a mortal is to a mortal that is about to die, before that mortal can betray the secret. What a horrific realization that is. Yes, a very dark epiphany indeed. Jason, please don't let this idea drive you to slaughter innocent mortals. I couldn't bear it if my doubts drove you to that. No, I was just musing. No, I would never. I think on some level this realization came when I slew Vasquez and Connell. But that idea helps me understand the savagery of other blood takers. Of River Stone? Yes, what a strange source of comfort. She preys on the brutal and the unjust, but her acts hurt me. Maybe just a little less now. As I lie here listening, I keep forgetting to disbelieve your story. I forget the absurdity of a man claiming to be a vampire. Even fiction needn't be believable to be truer than pure reporting of events could ever hope to be. Very well put. Very... I will come back to that thought later when I impose on you and ask you to hear my confession. There is no less qualified person in all the world to hear your... He interrupts them just as I'm turning the page. That's just rude. Bullshit. I'll confess now in case it's my last chance. Then we can talk more about you. Forgive me, Brother Jason, for I have sinned against the dogma of the Catholic Church. What you said before was a great way to word part of this. Fiction doesn't have to be believable to be truer than non-fiction or whatever it was. I believe the truth in the Bible with all my heart, always have. But some of the dogma and the details, they are not the point of it. And they are not where the truth is. God is real, but he isn't quite as the book describes. Go on. Not even a he. Actually, the main reason I'm at this retreat is for saying, if God is fitted with a phallus, then who is it for? We say that God is everywhere, and that is true. God is everything. The wine, the gorillas, the vampires, the cancer, the miracles of life and death equally. I dutifully spout the dogma and give my entire life to a church because it is the opiate that the masses need to get through this world. Not as a threat of hell, but a promise of miraculous grace. Grace is real. Miracles are real. The rest is details. So you see, you are the best person to hear my confession. A good Catholic would be burned by my words like you are by the sun. And only you can make my death more meaningful than it could have ever been. I think I know where your words are leading, and let a dying man lead his own words around, if you'd be so kind. You have reason to live. Well, then, to go on, and you know it. Your intellect and curiosity are reasons enough. Add to them your wisdom, kindness, and compassion. You're strangely validating. You've strangely validated my calling. Thanks, Tiny Text Keith. You strangely validated my calling. It isn't easy being a Catholic, let alone a Franciscan monk, when you don't believe the dogma and literalist interpretations. We say that the wine is Christ's blood, and many of my parishioners literally believe that. Now who's the vampire? I cannot let my fresh blood die with me when you need it so badly. Leonard, no. I see your grace here, and I would avail myself of it, but you still know so little about my kind. Human blood carries too much of the person's life and personality with it, like memories which can never be yours, but that you cannot ever forget. I took the blood of Connell on that beach, and now he is inside of me. He is much of the life in me that I want to lose. The intimacy is too complete, too all-encompassing. The bosun lives on in my mind exactly like a madness. I recall beating his wife, savaging his children. I cannot add more to that. Well, if you can bear up under my memories of blissful gluttony, I don't think I'd be that bad a tenant in your mind. I might even be able to console and calm the troubled bosun in you. At least I can add good memories to the bad. And for all your senses, don't you see? This could be the most meaningful communion I've ever given. I think you're a good man. I like the thought of living on in the mind of another good man, your mind, maybe as a stabilizing force for good. Maybe I can help you the way you are helping me. Give me this chance. Invite this dying mortal into your dwelling place and take Christ's blood through the wine in my veins to sustain you and protect you from the terrors you seek death to avoid. The monster I can't bear to become. Bullseye, my friend. There is only a little more time. I absolve you of your sins. But tell me the rest of your story until the time comes for you to take your communion. There is little more to tell. In many ways, I was a member of the Walking Dead long before the attack. After I lost Sophia and the boys, I moved through my life to pass time until death took me. And now I fear that it never will. I have to keep moving, to keep from living out the scenes of villagers with torches from all the Gothic fiction. I know very little of true vampire history, and yes, my curiosity is one of the main things that drives me onward. River clears up very little and is usually downright cryptic. If I weren't sure that pun was accidental. You don't have still he coughs. We don't have to sleep in earth from our home, although there is an odd sort of comfort when I visit the places I've called home. Fire is lethally effective against us, she says, to avoid it. And even when I have wanted most ardently to die, I could never bring myself dangerously near to flame. Is there any connection between vampirism and some sort of demon or Satan? I don't really believe in an embodied evil force like that, but you may know more than I do. He coughs again. I doubt that. You know of none. Oh, I doubt that. I know of none. Being undead, living beyond my days, that is a kind of hell for me. But the change, It doesn't feel connected to some ultimate evil at all. For all I know, it is a purely scientific matter. Some diseases, I've learned that there have been vampires for centuries. Any names I might know? Well, forgive me, my Catholic brother, but there is a great deal of vampiric rumor around certain Medicis. Medici popes. Not that surprising. Brother Wills, there's a long silence. Hargreaves shuts out the light. He crosses to the friar. And Wills starts saying the first lines of the communion in Latin. A sharp gasp, long silence. Oh, this is stage direction. One of the men sings part of a haunting classical requiem piece, possibly the minor key sections of Verdi's Agnus Dei. I didn't bother to do research back then. The internet wasn't as good back then. If it is done right, the audience will not know for certain which man is singing it, because in truth it is both. In a preternatural unison. I don't know if you could hear it, but my throat choked up just a tiny bit. And then there's a bunch of stuff that oh Lord, words I looked up for something to use for the title. Well, I read the whole first act. Didn't do it very well, and it's not a polished version at all. Then again, I am trying to become a recovering perfectionist. Hey Google, PC on. I gotta have the fan. Oh, it's killing me. Now, I haven't really written... I have written bits of the rest of the play, and I know what happens, but I don't think I have access to any of the stuff I've written. I may stumble across it on paper. Wasn't expecting to find this. That all takes place in a place so dark. I want it only lit by the kerosene lamp, but some kind of special effect needs to happen for it to be white light. I don't want it to be obvious in the first act that it's a black and white play. It's basically in a dark cellar, and there's very little light to begin with. It's it's a podcast. It's a conversation, really. Pouring the wine. I'd like there to be maybe an illusion, magic of the bottle being somewhere else and suddenly in Hargreaves' hand. For that music, I always think about what I sang as the Padre in Man of La Mancha. De profundis clamo a te, Domine, Domine. So that's the end of the first act. When we come back, it's a black and white movie. Hopefully even with a scrim, with like an establishing shot of the courthouse or I don't remember where the next scene is. I think it's probably the jailhouse. And Hargreaves is there. Looking a little better. A little. He's had to endure some really unpleasant indirect sunlight and bits of direct sunlight. And he's in a jail cell. And just to give you the main hits of it, because this thing's never going to see the light of day. There's no point in worrying about spoilers. It's never going to see the light of day. Hargreaves freaks out after taking Brother Wills's blood. In kind of a great way. Wills is a good man. Not perfect at all, but, not a horrible family beating drunk, and like he said, basically a bit of a hedonist. And he quoted me to the Catholic Church and got sent off to a what do you call it? A retreat, for saying if God has a phallus, if God is fixed with a phallus, who is it for? I've been saying that since I was 13 or 14, I think. This really is kind of a double self-portrait. I'm Hargreaves and Wills both. And those names may change. They're a bit on the nose too. Oh, on the nose too. I sound like I'm still trying to do a British accent. So Hargreaves is in the jail cell and he's begging for something to cover the window that's letting some sunlight, not right onto him, but letting some sunlight in. White sunlight. There's no color to be found, except rimming Hargreaves' eyes. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if he's had a chance to wash any of his sacrament spillage. So why in the world is he in the jail cell? I think this is probably told and not shown. I don't know. If it ever got produced, maybe a director would decide to make it be shown and not told, or shown and told. But some people finally get to Wills's cottage while Hargreaves is tripping balls on forgiveness, a return of vitality from the blood, emotion, just you name it. Vampires can be killed, and he could have died. And he was close to it. So they locked him up, and he came to it while they were trying to, I don't know if anybody but me will ever know this, but he came to while they were taking him to jail, but he decided to just let it happen for multiple reasons. Well, the principal one is that with his intelligence and with his preternaturally powerful senses, he sussed out what who stabbed Wills, and at least a little bit of why. And the answer to that, I'll go ahead and spoil. Turn away if you, I don't know, like I said, I doubt I'll ever even write the rest of this beast or stumble across what I've already written. I have a lot of unfinished plays. I'll get to that some other time. Someone remind me, Completable, the play called Completable, and conjunction with recovering perfectionist. So the mayor has been diddling the boys in that town, and girls, I suppose. A real shitty piece of work, a really, really, really evil guy. And Hargreaves is able to figure out most of it. Like I said, he can tell you a lot about the person that did it, even though they've never met. One of the children came to Will's and told the story, and what's his name? I don't think I named him. The evil mayor, the very, 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 very bad mayor, stabs Wills and absconds with the kid. Kidnaps the kid. I seem to remember he had more than one kid, so I guess somehow like at gunpoint, he gets multiple kids from where Wills is, and that's where Wills is in the process of bleeding out when Hargreaves comes in. So Hargreaves wants to go to town to finish solving the case and, find someone credible to deal with it. When the mayor, I think the mayor and the chief of police, were both involved. That helps explain rounding up more of the kids. There's two of them. So, chief of police, mayor, who are you gonna call? Belief busters. And how do you know all this shit? I'm a vampire. So he's got to figure out a way to solve all this. Well, yeah. Get the children from the kidnap situation. I seem to remember one of the ways that he demonstrates his vampire story is true in court is to have the parchment appear from River Stone and his to disappear. So there's a little bit of sleight of hand required. And and all this is in black and white. Bits of dark, what I call ox blood. I think a lot of people call it ox blood, although I think maybe ox blood is not as dark for most people as I think of it. To me, you need a good light on it to not think it's black. And then, in any case, that's how dark I want the blood. Yeah. And he also does a thing which is de rigueur now, but he has begged them to pull the curtains on the windows and in the courtroom, and At one dramatic moment, he goes and flings them open, backlit, looking like a crucified man, and smoke pouring off of him. Probably a colorful smoke. Probably a dark red smoke, if that can be managed. Sorry, just had to vape. No, anyway, black cherry, it's really good. So yeah, I don't think I've written every little detail about, or written, a lot of it I haven't written, but even cogitated every detail about how the rest of it goes. But he's allowing himself to be kept in jail. I did write one scene. I wish I could get my hands on. I remember it being kind of clever. He has to leave the jail, and it's not hard. He's crazy fast. He can get the keys, do it, put the keys back before anybody knows what the hell's happening. So he leaves and comes back. I'm not sure about allowing this part of vampire lore, but I wrote it as though as kind of a smoke bomb entrance instead of exit. A strong mist comes in the room, and the light's not very strong, and there's Hargreaves' coat is hanging on a coat rack, on a hanger on a coat rack, and in the smoke the actor is in the coat. You know, it's just basically consolidates. And if there's any way to fast dissipate the smoke at that point, that'd be so great. And that all happens in front of one of the children. And children, a kid or multiple kids, just staring like, that's the weirdest, coolest thing I've ever seen. And at some point, Hargreaves does kind of an amusing magic trick where he reaches around in his back and he pulls out a coat hanger and hands it to the kid, which the kid laughs and is given succor. Adam Savage was using that word a lot recently, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm coming up on 2 hours. Excellent. Yeah, so what else? Like I said, that I don't know about that. Yeah, vampire story. I really, really still very much like the first part of it, even in that terrible condition. There's lots that still need to be burned and rewritten and all that, and some of that has been, and if I can, somewhere on some email server, I think I've got a better version of it. If I can find one, I will. YouTube, Crystal Hale. Some people call it oxblood. I call it sling blade. Beej. Hi, Beej. When did you get here? I've not been checking. Let's see. I can do. What can I do? You may not still be here. I've been blathering so long. I thought thought I had... Thought I had a way to put the chat on the screen. Well, did you hear any of the play? The very old version of the not that great to begin with play? She's already gone by now. I wish I could see what time that came in. Maybe I can. And my head, it has no glasses. Babs! I've got two lovely female relatives. Yeah, I don't know when is Crystal still here? I call her Beach for a long reason. Actually, we call Barbara, we call her Babs. And Crystal was acting a little bit like Babs when Babs is being naughty, and I yelled at her and said, Babs Jr. So she's been forever BJ since then for me. Love the effect and the story. I wonder how much of it you got to hear. Well, a Fort Worth theater group that I worked with twice, stalling to remember the name, Hip Pocket Theater. Hip Pocket Theater. They were going to do some one acts in the barbecue place that was right adjacent to their cool outdoor wooden stage, open sky stage. But they were gonna do things in the winter in the barbecue place, and they asked me if they could do the first act, the one act, but it didn't come to be. And I really want to find a better version of it. How come y'all are listening to my raspy face instead of doing book club? Book club. I'm 20 minutes. Yeah, I doubt you heard it all, but I don't know. I don't know how long it took to read it. Well, I have learned that I can only have this camera and one other. I was set up before. Whoops. Dang it. To have more. You caught me having soda. Babs and Beach. I showed this earlier, but I shall again. Is the right camera? Yes, it is. This is about, I don't know, 12 of the Trulicity, the Monjaro, the Lantis, and even my old regular injection things. Bye. Oh, y'all are about to start now. Okay, good. Okay. Well, I've dismembered some of those injector things for future putting together and make sculpture out of. But that's a good timing because I need to call it a night myself, and thanks everyone for paying any attention that they may have done to the video on demand or the live stream. Crystal's on YouTube. You both are. Okay, good. Cool. Alrighty. Well, on that kind of strange stream, I'm going to call it a night. I do plan to sling some clay on stream, but in some ways I don't know. I would like there to be maybe somebody watching live, but what are you gonna do? Well, I usually wrap up with some kind of recommendation. I'm gonna recommend an author whose name may be familiar. They finally made one of his books into a movie, and he is the author of my favorite book of all time. And I think he needs to be let out of the penalty box. He's a Mormon writer. He writes for the Mormon Church, and he's a believer in Mormons' beliefs, and a good man. I've traded a few messages with him. He signed a couple of books for me and then mailed them to me for free. Orson Scott Card. Nightbot is being weird. Orson Scott Card. And I recommend, similar to Star Wars, watch Star Wars, then Empire Strikes Back, then Revenge of the Nerds. Watch it in the order it came out. Read Ender's Game, and then my favorite book of all time is the second one written in that series. There's shit tons of them written to go in between, and the ones I've read are good. But Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead. You could probably skip to Speaker for the Dead, especially if you've seen Ender's Game, the movie. They did a reasonably good job of the movie. I was involved on Orson's website for, years and years, while they were trying to write it and find directors and studios and everything. It finally happened, and the only place he's in the credits is as the voice of one of the Earth-based commanders, which is cool that he got to do that. But, and I need to look that up. I'm pretty sure they didn't even give him story credit or writer's credit for the but he's such a class act that he acted like, I'm just so happy that it's made, and we got Harrison Ford and Viola Davis. So yeah. The second book is called Speaker for the Dead, and gun to my head, you have to have a religion. I probably could fashion one out of the philosophy of the Speaker for the Dead. So that's my recommendation. A good friend long ago, not even certain I've got his name right in my memory, but I think Richard is his first name, and he introduced me to those books. Give those two a try and see what you think. He eventually wrote, okay, Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead, Xenocide? Children of the Mind. And I don't know, that may be the end of the Ender's saga. But yeah, and then he if you've seen the movie, there's Battle School where young kids are taught to be efficient battle strategy evil geniuses, war evil. And then Speaker for the Dead happens thousands of years later because of near light speed travel time dilation. And now he's gone back and written several books. I think at least 5. No, I think at least 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 6 or 7. I need to go look at his website. It's been a long time. Now, he got... We need a word for this. He got somewhat disgraced by some people who I don't feel like had quite as gentle a heart as he has or had, because he wrote against and spoke against same-sex marriage, and then it was legalized, and he said, "Well, it's the settled law of the land. I'm not going to fight them. I'm just telling you what my church and I believe, and I hope y'all will show me the grace that I tried to show you." So he was a bit reviled, and as a result, kind of got erased from his own award-winning short story and then novel made into a much better film than people give it credit. Not perfect, much better. I'll probably watch that again. But I'd also like to listen to the books again. Those I mentioned, I've read on paper or audio, at least 3 each, and the early ones before even those last ones came out 7 times. So yeah, my favorite book of all time, Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card, a good man attached to a church I don't respect, but man, everybody I've known from that church has been wonderful people, just generous. They'll give you the shirt off their back, and they'll take you to their shirt drawer and give you the rest of their shirts. Sweet, wonderful, generous, kind people. Wrong side of history about several things. I believe that in 1978 God changed his mind about black people. I am a Mormon, and a Mormon just believes. I didn't sing that right, but I got the lyrics. May have gotten the year wrong. Meanwhile, what I'm saying is the man's won, and deservedly won, many, many science fiction awards, and that's kind of greatness. I'm wondering now what time it is. They do book club later than I realized. And this is a good time to plug in one of my mantras. Try hard not to offend. Try even harder not to be offended. I'm very possibly going to go live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Same time, same bat time. That is the new scheduled night. Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I may not go tomorrow if my health is... I plan to go on for at least a little while. So come on back, and thanks for stopping by.